Good evening. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your futures market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for the evening of Monday, the 8th of September, 2025. We're about 6:10 p.m. Central Time. So the stock market continuing on its merry way as traders are plowing into it. They're buying everything in sight because they're saying to themselves, the Fed's beginning a rate cycle cutting. I want to be there because I'll miss out on it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that could be the case. We will see. I wrote tonight about the percentages on the first rate cut, where the market is a month after it, where the market is 6 months and a year down the road. If you're not a subscriber or you don't get my free trial to my newsletter, go to our website. You can click up here and do it. The regular subscribers to my full research, you'll see that tonight. I just finished writing that up. Silver, what an opportunity today. The market fell pretty hard last night, came back with a vengeance and made new highs. Now the question is the gold-silver ratio, it's flattened out. Where's that going? On the energy markets, big problems in energy in terms of politics. In the politics of it, what you're facing now is Trump, our president, would love to put sanctions, I think, on finally to Russia. The problem is doing it by ourselves really doesn't work. We'd like it with the European Union. Are you aware that they're still buying, I read this today, $8 billion of natural gas from the EU? So that supports a lot of war. How do you put a sanction on and Europe is still buying it? Hungary's still getting crude oil. There's another country that is as well. I mean, it doesn't seem unified to me, and how do you go about doing it? And yet that's the word. I think if that weren't the case, oil would be down and down a lot more. I mean, you've got OPEC producing more in gradual steps. And they used some key words. They're increasing the production by, I think, 150,000 barrels roughly a day starting in October over the current amounts that they've come back up and that they've clawed back. Now, they'll judge that month by month from what they said. Do they tweak it? Do they keep it going? Who knows? But it's more oil. What are the Saudis doing? They're grabbing market share. It's right in front of you. Understand it. The lower oil goes, the less the American fracker wants to put money into drilling new wells and so on. If the technology out of the same wells is inexpensive and it can give them what they need, they're going to stay right there. But they're not throwing money to drill more. They're making money to give it back to their shareholders. That's what's going on. Who wins in the environment in the short term if prices fall? OPEC. They grab market share back from the U.S. and other places. That'll be the interesting part. I still don't know how the U.S. would put sanctions on China for buying Russian oil, because the first thing, if I'm Chinese or in the government, why are we giving them rare earth materials? What about those magnets they need? They're hitting us, we'll hit them. This is a complicated issue that we've gotten ourselves into. Bitcoin looks like it wants to rally a little bit to me to the upper, what would you call it, the 18-day average of closes. Now, before I get to this chart and talk too much about it, I want to remind you that we have our free offers. Just go to iraepstein.com, free offers. Can't be easier than that. Move your clicker up here. You can get our different market letters, the software you see me using. You can try that out. Some of our free video courses, they're all there for you. Now let's take a look, if we could, together at the news. You're going to get the National Federation of Independent Business at 5 a.m. tomorrow, Central Time. I'll be up. Many of you won't. Redbook retail sales for the week ending September 6th comes out at 7:55. They've been beautiful, over 6% on average over the past, I think, 3 weeks or so. The API numbers will come out at 3:30 in the afternoon. We saw consumer credit come out today, and it went up $16 billion. They expected it up only 11.3. The credit revolving went up $10.5 billion, 10 times the amount that it was a month ago. That's an awful lot. Now, in my newsletter tonight, what I'm covering for a lot of traders is Venezuela. Are you aware that Venezuela has now said they're deploying 25,000 troops throughout the country on its borders? not to fight the U.S., to snuff out all the drug trafficking. So I guess sending, what did we send? 7 warships there, submarines and destroyers, taking out one ship by blowing it out of the sea has gotten at least somebody's attention, where they're going around and finally doing what President Trump wanted them to do. I know people don't give him credit, but I've yet to see what isn't working for him as a whole. The tariffs are working for him. Here, if he can get Venezuela to do that, that's important. For you grain traders, keep your eye on what's going on in Argentina. Milei lost a key election yesterday, and his party is not going to get a majority in Congress. You know, he's still winning, don't get me wrong. He's winning in that he's an austerity man, but they don't want that. And that is, you know, whenever you tell people, let's cut, it hurts. Look what France threw out the prime minister today, voted no confidence. So he should be resigned by the morning. And who do you put in? And why is he out? Because he's saying we have to cut spending. Guess what in the United States? We have to cut spending. Somewhere along the line, people have to get this. In the S&P, well, what can you say? You're up at, for all purposes, on a closing basis, an all-time high. You don't see that on the chart because all the ranges have narrowed in rather dramatically. I think you'd agree with that. I widened them out a little bit here, and you can see you have a higher high, a lower low. That's not really a trend. You're stuck at the 18-day average of closes, but you're basically staying over it most of the time, which gives you the upside bias. The resistance is the upper Bollinger Band, and each time you've recently gone to it, you've hit it and you've pulled back, and that seems to be the pattern the market wants to do, and you're in overbought territory. So no, I am not screaming at my traders, run in and buy the market up here. I'm saying get your cash ready, and on breaks that step into the market, that could be the places to come in. In the NASDAQ, you have a lower low, higher high, and you're overbought. I'll let somebody else want to own that here. The Dow's a better buy than them, in my opinion, but it's overbought. So far, out of these three, if you're coming in with fresh money right here, I just don't see it. The Russell is acting better than the group, where it's got the embedded reading, and on pullbacks, it looks more interesting. So there, those are your low-value stocks. And that's what, remember, we were talking, the rotation that's been taking place, still going on in a big way at this point in time. When we go to the DAX, last time that we were here last week, I said when you went to the 100-day average in the Bollinger Band, that was where I thought the pros would cover. If they were short, they're shorts. And maybe we'd get back to the 18-day average, and that's about what we're doing. Are you trending? If you had a trend, you'd have to say it's to the downside with resistance at 44.74, but you are in an area here you've just come out of being oversold. Still the resistance at the 18-day average. In the 10-year notes, you're running the Bollinger Band. You have what we call the Gorilla Glue trade. It latches on, and then it forces an embedded reading where the red and the blue lines go over 80 for several days or more in a row. And that's a sign that on the breaks of the market, there's a way that I believe the pros are trying to buy it. But there's a couple of rules. If you've taken my enhanced Bollinger Band course, they're all in there. Same in the 2-year notes going on within a Bollinger Band that's enhanced. So in other words, the front end, especially the front end, is where the Fed has more influence, not control, but influence on the market. And the back end isn't where it's there. I was listening to Double Line today, as they were saying, and they see the curve yield continuing to stay the back end up and the front end continue to fall. And I'd have to agree with that. Lower highs, lower lows in the dollar. By the way, mortgages down. Did you see the 10-year note where it's at in the yield? 4.04 today in a fraction. That's really low. Does it get under 4? That's going to be an event if it takes place, especially if it closes like that. You're down in the dollar index to where it's found support each time, which is the lower Bollinger Band. We'll see if it can do anything. And you're up to where you have failed each time in the euro recently, the upper band where it pulls back and you're overbought in that market. In the British pound, you have a lower low, higher high. I don't see a trend. I see a market that's spinning in here and really not giving you much one way or the other. Bitcoin, higher lows, higher highs. I see the resistance at the 18-day average. I started off saying that, and I still think it can get up there. In the energy markets, you have a higher high, lower low. You're really caught between the 200-day average and the 100, and just marching around in those numbers right now. A similar story, but not quite. You're giving up more ground easily on the 100-day average in WTI. That could slip a bit more, wouldn't surprise me. But would you want to sell a market that's this oversold? If you do, go ahead. Not something that I teach. Gasoline peaked out against the upper Bollinger Band again, and it's fighting a big battle at the 18-day average. It closes. The driving season, it's over. So now the question is it gasoline that you and I should keep watching, or should we switch gears to heating oil? We're going to switch gears to heating oil. And in nat gas, you've come all the way back up to the upper Bollinger Band. That's your resistance point, and you're overbought. I'll let somebody else, from my parlance, say, own it. So again, I want to remind you the free offers that we have. If you're interested, move your cursor up here. Just go to iraepstein.com and look on the left on the website. Free offers. Choose what you want, and away you go. Have yourself a great evening. Hope you watch the other videos, and I'll catch up with you in the morning. Sorry, over the weekend, I could not do my videos, and this morning, I couldn't do a morning flash. Now I'm back in the saddle again. Had a private issue. You take care.